Excelsior! Fucking fantastic.
I have Spider-Man the movie on with Kirsten Dunst, and it's the scene where he defends her and they have their first kiss when he's like in the mask.
MJ ever.
Okay, first of all, you just read my mind. When I first saw this movie, it was my graduation day, and as soon as I graduated, I went with my friends, Eric and another guy. We saw this movie, and I was like, man, this is a great movie. However, I think they miscast Mary Jane. It's like, Kirsten Dunst is fine. I remember her from Interview with a Vampire. I loved her in that. But as she got older, I was like, oh, she's cute, but I didn't find her attractive. I thought she should have been more attractive.
You thought she was attractive as a little girl vampire?
Well, I was a little boy at the time.
Oh, okay.
No, not as a man.
Come on, Aaron. Get your shit together, man.
Kirsten Dunst looks like someone that's like lactose intolerant and possibly has spina bifida.
My question is, what would that be compared against? Because before that came out, there was no MJ other than animated. So,
right. And that's what I was going based off of.
They picked Kirsten Dunst because at the time she had a bunch of movies coming out, like Little Women and stuff like that, and she was popular.
I thought she was cute. I just didn't think she was cute enough to be Mary Jane. And now,
who would you have?
Well, before I get there, as I'm watching it now over my shoulder and looking at her again as a 37-year-old man, I'm like, you know what? She's not bad. She's not bad looking. I still think she's miscast, but she's not bad looking. She looks better now.
I do have someone, and it was actually, a lot of people agree with me on this, and you probably don't even know her name.
The woman from Mad Men, the redhead, if she was a little younger.
No, if she was young, yeah, of course, but I think her, let's be real, her major boobage might not have worked.
They could have taped her down a little bit. Tamed her. You know what we're talking about, John?
I do not.
Oh, you never watched Mad Men?
Elisa Donovan.
Elisa Donovan. Let me look her up.
She was in Clueless, and that's when I was like Clueless, like a few years after. Like, she would have been perfect Mary Jane.
Brittany Murphy.
2002
version.
I don't know.
I can't agree with that.
2002 version? Girl Next Door? Mary Jane? Mary Jane in the cartoon was a fox. And Kirsten Dunst at the time, she wasn't a fox to me. Like, woo, damn. She was just nice looking.
So you said, how do you spell her name? Elisa Donovan?
Yep, Elisa Donovan. Clueless?
Oh, I remember her.
Clueless, the TV show?
Yeah, I remember her.
She might have been in the TV show, but I'm talking the movie.
Yeah, she would have been perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So we're going with people who are already redheads. Is that what we're going with?
Yes, that is what we're doing, John.
All right, fair enough. So you don't want anybody to be cast?
I don't give a fuck about that.
I think what's her name? We'll say from Amazing Spider-Man as Gwen Stacy. She's not blonde. She was perfect. I thought she was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, I liked Gwen Stacy from the third Spider-Man, to be honest. I like.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have a lot of arguments.
That's why I was saying. This is going to.
John's coming in hot.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of disagreements on these.
We're gonna definitely disagree on this one. I'm not gonna have any fans on this one.
Let's start the episode real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everyone, to After School Special Podcast with one of your hosts with the most, Aaron. And then we also have Staff Man.
Yo.
Double D.
Yo.
And we are talking about Spider-Man. Not just Spider-Man the comics, the character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. We are talking Spider-Man movies, nostalgia surrounding them. We are doing the Sam Raimi movies and the Mark Webb movies, and we're going to touch a little bit on the new ones, which are amazing by themselves, but I think we're just kind of leaning back more on the older ones. I don't know about you guys, I was a big Raimi fan, specifically not just his Spider-Man movies, but, you know, his horror films and whatnot, Evil Dead, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he has a special place in my heart, and when I found out that he was doing Spider-Man movie, the first one, which 2002, is the first one with Tobey Maguire. I was completely stoked. And I don't know, John, you brought it up when we were kind of talking last time. One of the first trailers that popped up in 2001. Spider-Man, there's a bunch of robbers in a helicopter flying away, and they get caught in a web between
The Twin Towers.
Yeah, between the Twin Towers.
Yeah. So that trailer got pulled after 9/11 happened. So they got rid of that. They didn't want to be insensitive. But yeah, when Spider-Man came out, dude, I'm going to level with you. I've always been a Spider-Man fan. I didn't care who was directing. I just wanted to gobble up who Spider-Man was going to be on the big screen. It's not the first time that we've had a live action Spider-Man, because there was one in the 60s. That one was pretty funny. This one was a little more serious. So when it came out, I was very excited to see what they were going to do. So
there was also like a Japanese, almost like Power Rangers Spider-Man.
Yes, and that one's going to be coming out again, actually, for Into the Spider-Verse. They're going to have the Japanese Spider-Man in that one.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I know they're doing Spider-Man
2099, Jessica Spider-Woman, and they're also going to have the Japanese Spider-Man who is going to join in on these adventures. So I'm excited about that one, which, I think we're not going to talk about it today because we're talking about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, but I really like Nick Cage as Spider-Noir. I did.
No, 100%.
Yeah, I thought that he found his niche. He was funny. He was charismatic. I thought that was solid. So that's as much as I'll say about that one. But as far as Sam Raimi, yes, I was super excited for the films. I liked how he kept his buddy in there. Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell was in all three. So I was happy that Bruce Campbell was put into all three.
And his brother too was in all three of them. His brother, I can't remember his name, but he worked for J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. The Page guy, the guy that was always like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then I liked where they were building, but it just, I don't know, man. Like the direction in Spider-Man 3 was very off-putting. So I didn't care too much for that one.
So from what I understand and things that get thrown on the internet. So when first Spider-Man came out, you're hearing about it. Internet really isn't as big as it is now. So you're hearing it off of different sites and whatnot as to who's getting cast. And Wizard, do you remember that magazine, the comic book magazine Wizard?
Mm-hmm.
I used to get it all the time. So I had a subscription to it. So I'd get it, every month. Get a new issue, and they were talking about Spider-Man. I guess what I've seen, or when I was doing research, Spider-Man 3 wasn't so much the direction that it was the writing. The writing was chaotic. They had to do the turnaround they had 3 years though. That's the thing. And compared to Spider-Man 2, and I don't know if Raimi had both of those in his belt.
But Sam Raimi, he's from Royal, our neck of the woods.
Evil Dead, his first movie was shot
in Michigan.
In Michigan. Yeah, he's a Michigan native. And then, so casting and whatnot, you have for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, you have Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker / Spider-Man, Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane Watson. You have
my boy
Harry
Franco.
Osborn. Yeah, James Franco plays Harry. And
who in early development he auditioned to be Spider-Man, so that could have been
damn.
Also, just to talk about development a little bit, they've been trying to develop this shit since the 80s, and I think John already mentioned they already did a Spider-Man in the 60s. And James Cameron at one point, did you find this out too?
I did see that.
Yeah, he was hooked on to do the script, and right around Titanic he had Leonardo DiCaprio cast as, he wanted him to be cast as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And before that, they had Tom Cruise in mind, which that could have been weird. I mean, early 90s, I guess he could have pulled it out. But at one point, it was like two people got the rights to Spider-Man, and they didn't understand what Spider-Man was. They thought he was an actual Spider-Man, and they had an idea that he was made by a mad scientist, and he was going to be an actual fucking spider. And Stan Lee hated that idea. And like, man, fuck.
What the fuck?
It was like in the early fucking 80s.
The producer from that wanted to do the Superman movie and ended up doing Wild Wild West.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably the same fucking dude.
These two guys were part of the Canon Group, and they acquired the rights for $225,000. And like I said, they thought he was similar to like a fucking werewolf. And Leslie Stevens, creator of The Outer Limits, was hired to write the screenplay. So yeah, they were gonna make him into a fucking like hybrid Spider-Man. And
I was gonna say
that would have been awful.
That would have been awesome. I would have paid to see that.
But I would have just renounced my fandom at that point if they would have did that. That's terrible.
Well, that was the thing. Like in the 90s, Marvel had to sell the rights to all their characters almost.
They got bankrupt.
Yeah. And so they sold they eventually sold it to Sony, correct? I know Fantastic Four as well had bought the rights.
Well, they sold it to Columbia, and Sony was the parent company of Columbia.
Oh, okay. And then, you go a couple years down the line, and then Sony and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel comes back and starts creating these stories with these new characters. But yeah, Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. I was going to say, one of the best villains next to Heath Ledger's Joker, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
One of the best villains in any superhero movie. And you could say Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor. I always like Gene.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the first one, which his villain is Green Goblin. The second one, Doc Ock, played by
Alfred Molina.
Yep, who was an awesome Doc Ock.
Yes, he was.
And then third one, you have he played Sandman.
Oh, that guy. Who was in that show Wings?
Yeah, he was on Wings.
That's my contribution.
Also, Topher Grace as Eddie Brock, Venom, which
was awful.
Yeah, everyone.
That's not his fault, though. That's not his fault.
He was miscast.
Yes, he
100%.
was.
Yeah.
And who do you think? Okay, so like maybe in the 90s, not even 2000s, when Spider-Man was made, my brothers used to talk. Who would be the best Eddie Brock?
Thomas Hayden Church was freaking Sandman. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Great Sandman.
Yeah.
By the way, who do you think
in the 90s? Who would have been a good Eddie? But that movie came out in the 2000s.
I know, but just my brothers and I used to talk about who would be a good Eddie Brock Venom based off of the comic book.
Ooh.
And Howie Long. We always thought that he should have been Eddie Brock and Venom. If you go based off of the comics, who looked the most like Eddie Brock?
Yeah, absolutely.
Howie Long.
But you know what the studio wanted to do? They wanted like a contemporary to balance off Tobey Maguire's boyish charm. They wanted kind of like, okay, well, what if we made somebody that Tobey could have, like Spider-Man could have been if he would have went down a darker road. So they wanted to make him as young as Peter Parker, which their decision doesn't coincide with the comic book, of course. But you're right, Howie Long would have been great.
Howie Long would have been great, but can Howie Long act? So. That's the question.
Or Bosworth, the dude that used to play football.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
He would have been great too. Howie Long.
Boz?
Yeah, Boz.
I'm trying to remember the movie that he's been in a couple action films.
He's the B movie king. And
who is it? Bosworth?
Bosworth.
Yeah, Brian
he got
Bosworth.
He got trucked by Bo Jackson.
Cold?
Stone fucking cold. They already have fucking Macho Man in the first movie. Why not?
Yeah, Stone Cold.
No, I'm saying
he's. Yeah, I know.
I'm saying if you're gonna have, he might as well have another wrestler to play that villain. That would have been kind of cool.
No. They're good.
Oh yeah, I don't know. He was fucking great in that movie, wasn't he? That cameo, Jesus Christ,
that was a fantastic.
The
cameo.
Bone Saw.
Hey,
Bone Saw.
Hey, Freak Show, you're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
What I was gonna say is Brian Bosworth was in the movie Stone Cold.
Yeah,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh.
It's all right.
Well, thanks for letting me go on that tangent, though.
No, it was fine.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin he was in the Expendables. I thought he did a really good job in that. Anyways.
You know what? Henry Rollins, I could have seen him doing it.
Well, okay.
As Eddie Brock,
since we're on this topic, both of you recast your version of Spider-Man, the first one.
Well, let me tell you something. I wasn't sold on Tobey Maguire at first either.
Neither was I.
Okay. Because I don't think at the time, I didn't think he was a good actor, and I didn't think he was young enough looking. Now, I look at it now as a 37-year-old man. It's like, you know what? He's like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. It's like, he is perfect for that role, but anything outside of that, yeah, he kind of stinks.
Well, Don, I was going to say, you could probably play someone that's in high school if you shaved. I think so.
Slap some hair on me. Yeah, hell yeah. I want to be in that new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air shit.
That looks great.
But thank you, Aaron. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that looks
Drink
great.
some more. Let the compliments fly.
Fucking so much gray in my beard right now. It's insane. So I'm getting old as shit.
What's that shit for men?
Just for men?
Just for men?
Just diet.
Oh, hell no, man. I want to be distinguished. I got the fucking Reed Richards going.
Yeah, the
Right.
Temples.
Oh, you got
Oh,
the
yeah.
streaks.
Yep.
Who was
Little
play?
brain
Who played
temples.
Flash Thompson in that fucking?
That was
Because he
my
auditioned
man,
to be Spider-Man too. By the way,
That was
he was
Joe
great.
Manganiello or something like that.
Yeah.
He played Deathstroke,
yeah.
BVS, and then also Justice League, who is, as far as I'm concerned, my Deathstroke. Like I thought
Yeah.
he
He's a
really
solid
got into that
Deathstroke.
role.
Yeah, he's a solid Deathstroke, man. If they use him in the future, who knows? But
To answer your question, Aaron, who could have played him? I already mentioned him a little bit when James Cameron was initially attached to the project. Fuck Leonardo DiCaprio. That would have been fucking great at the time.
No.
At the time, he
Are
would have
you
been perfect.
serious?
He's serious.
DiCaprio? I can't see him doing
he's a
that.
great actor.
I had a hard time seeing him in Titanic, let alone doing Spider-Man.
Okay, you brought up Titanic. Think about Titanic and how he looked. Like he kind of looks like what the new
Oh.
Tom
guy.
Holland?
Yeah, he kind of they look very similar.
Okay.
But he'd have to have black hair.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Yeah.
you really think he would have played Spider-Man because he was coming off of like Titanic, The Basketball Diaries, and
Yeah.
like
Well,
he was trying.
Cameron had him in mind before he did Titanic. So of course,
Oh,
after he
okay.
did Titanic, he probably wasn't going to do Spider-Man. But he would have been perfect, I think, for Peter Parker. He's a great actor.
Done it, yes. If they would have done it in the '80s, Matthew Broderick.
Yes. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
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 I
Before
told
he
you
did
they
all
had
the-
Tom Cruise in mind. Would you have liked that at the time in the 80s? Tom Cruise.
Hey, just to put a little rumor out there too. The rumor is that he's going to be in Multiverse of Madness as a Iron Man variant.
Who?
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard that. I
That's getting
actually
thrown
heard
around.
and read that.
Who?
So
Tom
I
Cruise.
Oh,
I'm looking-
no. Fade
I'm looking-
away. I don't like Tom Cruise. Get away from
dude, have you seen him in the mock-up as Iron Man? It looks amazing.
It does,
Just
but he
take a
doesn't look
sit-
that young anymore.
Get him
take a
outta
seat.
here, dude.
Just
No.
take a moment, look at the mock-up,
No,
and
dude.
then come back and tell me what you think. Because
You're
he looks
taking-
great.
That's from
No.
like Tom Cruise Mission Impossible 3 before he
Yeah.
got all the fucking like fat injected.
Did you see the Reacher? One of the Reacher movies when he like took his shirt off? I'm like, dog, no. It looks like an old man who still works.
Yeah.
Who still works
Also-
out, but
Real quick, Tom Cruise should not play Jack Reacher. Period.
oh, he's terrible. And they got the new one coming out. I'm like, wow,
You
this
ever
guy's
read-
like
you
6
ever read
feet.
the-
I tell you who would have been a good Spider-Man, and he was considered as well, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yes.
I could have seen him.
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that.
Yep.
So Freddie Prinze Jr., Scott Speedman is another one,
Mm-hmm.
and Jake Gyllenhaal would have been another
Yeah,
one.
but I think my all-time favorite Mary Jane is Zendaya, 100%. I think she is a fantastic actress. It's weird.
So
okay.
we've already. So some of us are in agreement, and some of us aren't. That Tobey Maguire was not the first choice, obviously, on who was going to be Spider-Man. However, history has shown that he was chosen for a reason. So you have him cast as Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I would say I like Tobey, but he looked a lot older than I would have liked. And the other side of it too was that Tobey, he didn't look nerdy enough for me. You know, like he looked more like the boy next door, very homely looking. He wasn't
ugly?
like, no, I'm not saying
No, I think
ugly,
that's the
but
point,
I
John.
mean,
I think that was the point. He wanted somebody that could blend into a crowd that
Yeah,
you wouldn't
but, I mean,
suspect as being Spider-Man.
My argument, I guess, is that when we talk about Mary Jane having the red hair or whatever, you want somebody who encompasses that character from the comic. I didn't necessarily see Tobey in that character from the comic. I didn't. I liked him playing it. I just didn't see it. Because when you look at the comic, the guy who, the Peter Parker in the comic was like this skinny, wore glasses, very nerdy sweater vest kind of dude in the comic. That's not what I got from this guy. I just got that he almost reminded me of Eric Banner's version of Bruce.
Oh,
Bruce
come
Banner.
on.
Yeah,
That's
how he.
that hurts.
No. I'm saying that's how he came across. He just came across as not the nerd type, just some normal looking guy. He didn't portray the character that I thought he should have portrayed in the comic.
Well, I think that's the actor's fault because I think the direction and the writing. I was watching it today. I'm like, wow, they really want to hit home that this guy is a nerd. He's not like in the writing when he gets bullied by Flash Thompson, even at the museum before he gets bit by the spider.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they really want to
think
hit this home. That
I think that's why a lot of people agree that Tobey was a better Parker, not a Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield was a better Spider-Man and not a Peter Parker, because Andrew Garfield was just too cool.
Yes.
Peter Parker.
Yes.
I didn't like that
he
guy's
was.
face.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sorry, we'll get to that.
Well, no,
I thought he
that's
was
fine.
miscast too.
Next episode, we're going to be doing the Mark Webb series, Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, okay, so
But I get what you're saying. I agree with you, John. Let me first say that full stop.
Yeah.
I agree with you at the time too. I thought he was miscast too, because I never saw a movie with him in it that I was like, yeah, he's good. I'm like, really? You got a B actor to be Spider-Man? But
Do you think? Oh, go ahead.
I thought he did a good job. That was the only thing I said, except for the third movie.
Do you think that, that's what I was going to bring up, the third movie, do you think Raimi pulled a Schumacher? This is what I call a Schumacher, is he did Batman Forever, 2 villains, and then, what was the next one? Batman and Robin?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, there were 3 villains. There was Bane, Ivy, like he did, and then Raimi was just doing 1 villain at a time. Technically, you had Harry as a villain in the second one a little bit, but it was mostly Doc Ock. I think, and what the new series has done well is, in a sense, focused on one, just like Raimi did, and then was able to encompass 5 villains at once. Spoiler alert, everyone's seen the preview of the villains, so say that. But he was able to encompass 5 villains. Do you know who the director? I can't remember who the director is. Is it Chris Columbus that directed the new Spider-Man?
Because he was tasked at first to do the first one that Raimi ended up doing. But he turned it down to do something else. I think Harry Potter.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to do it. What's that?
John Watts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus was going to do it, but he turned it down. And
I think
they were going to go off the James Cameron script that initially, they said it was a darker, more mature script version of Spider-Man. James Cameron had Spider-Man fucking Mary Jane on top of the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's some other shit.
James Cameron was the one who came out and said the best Spider-Man film was the one that wasn't made, which would have been his. That's what I believe. That's what Cameron said. Right?
Shut the
Cameron,
fuck up
and
go to Avatar.
We're still waiting for Avatar 2, motherfucker.
I'm not waiting. I don't care.
No one gives a shit anymore.
Yeah. I think that as far as the direction of the first one, it was done well. I liked that. I guess my thing was, and I know we'll talk about the new ones later, but I didn't like how they omitted Uncle Ben in the new ones versus how they had Uncle Ben in these other 2 being so prevalent. Uncle Ben is a very important role in the Spider-Man mythos, and I really felt that by omitting it in the newer ones because they wanted to give Aunt May more time was a little too much for me.
Speaking of Uncle Ben, man, that fucking actor that's gonna be Uncle Ben for life. He was so fucking good. I think his name is Cliff Robertson. I think that's his name.
And as much as I enjoyed him, I just couldn't get him out of my head as the president in Escape from L.A.
Oh, Kurt Russell. Yes. Yeah.
That's why I thought Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben was a good choice.
Yeah, I like Martin.
I
like Martin Sheen too. I did like Martin Sheen. It was brief, but it was good. I liked that, and I liked how they did biology in the second one. The second one are let me not go there. I'll wait until we get into the Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah,
I didn't really. Okay, well, yeah, I'll wait for my opinion.
I'll wait till we get there. But as far as the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, yes, first one was good. The second one was better. The third one was trash. The third one was trash because they miscast Topher Grace, and I thought they tried to do way too much. They introduced him as the new Goblin, which I thought was terrible. And then
God damn it,
James Franco.
James Franco.
James Franco was
That's
the
why
new
I was
Goblin.
saying.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying. Do you think that they pulled a Schumacher?
I do. Yes. If
that's what I call
terminology.
it. Is when you fuck up a superhero movie by adding more characters and more villains that you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
With.
Without doing any research, I'm going to assume that they knew this was the last movie, the third one, and they wanted to go out with a bang.
No, because Toby did an interview,
a
fourth. Toby did an interview talking about the fourth, and then the fourth got canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the reason they didn't do one was because Toby was just done with it. Like, all right, man.
Nope. It was supposed to be made in 2010, right?
Mhm.
And then it was canceled, and then they came out with the what was it? Amazing Spider-Man came out 2012.
Yeah.
So it had been what,
5 years? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, getting
But,
back to the first Tobey Maguire one, when I saw this again, because I knew we were going to talk about it, tonally, you know, it reminded me of Tim Burton's first Batman movie, just the way he shot it and the edits. It was like, it's all there, man. It's like the way, like the pace of it. I loved it, man. I forgot how much I loved this fucking movie because, like I said before we got on the show, I saw it on the day I graduated high school. So seeing those high school scenes, seeing those, you know, finally seeing Spider-Man on screen was just, to use Aaron's word, stoked. I was fucking stoked, man. And then the scene when Tobey Maguire asked Peter Parker draw out the suit, it's like, oh, this is so fucking good. It's like seeing a comic strip and have it manifest from paper to finally see him in the costume. Oh, so fucking good, man.
What did you guys think of the organic webbing? I know they talk about it in the new one, but what did you guys think of that? Because I wanted to see him work on the webbing. Thought that was pretty cool because the web shooter, but the organic webbing was pretty cool too.
I have a little tidbit on that. As I was doing research on this, I think originally in Cameron's, I think they borrowed that from Cameron's original script where they said they did that because they thought it would stress the imagination too much for the audience to think that this guy would actually create his own weapon, which sounds fucking ridiculous when you think about it. Like, really, that's the thing that the audience been like, oh, I don't believe that. Like, he wouldn't.
Do you think, like, okay, so it's in his wrists, he's able to shoot webs out, so does he have a vas deferens in both of his wrists? You know how we all shoot spider webs out of our dicks?
That comes up in the new. That came up in the new one. That I do know came up in the new one, and he,
really?
that came up.
Yeah,
he's like,
I don't want to ruin it for you because it's a great scene, and
it's a great scene. But that came up in the new one,
and also. Rewatching the first Tobey Maguire movie, when he finally wakes up from being bitten from the spider, you know, he sees his new body, like, oh shit, he's all ripped up and cut. And then Aunt May comes to the door like, hey, you need to get ready for school. You need to change. And Toby looks down at his dick. He's like, yeah. He says something like a big change. I'm like, wait a minute. I totally forgot.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Me too. I looked at it again, like, wait a minute. This guy was looking at his dick. I don't know how I missed that, but he was like, yeah, she's like, you need to get ready. You need to get changed. Like, he's like, yeah, big change. And he looked at his dick. He's like, oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
So apparently Spider-Man is out here swinging.
Dong?
Yeah, with a big old dong. Would it make sense if everything else got enhanced? Yeah, why wouldn't his dick get enhanced? So.
And then a bunch of young neckbeards just got bit by spiders. A couple of them died by getting bit by black widows, but yeah.
I see what you did there.
I would do it.
So Mary Jane was getting smashed out.
Yeah.
Well, they never.
I
don't think they ever did anything because, and see, that's something that I don't think any comic has. Well, no, I stand corrected. Dark One ain't touched on it because they don't ever really get together because the one time they do, she died from radiation poisoning from his body.
Oh.
Did you guys know that? Yeah.
You're talking about Spider-Man? I thought you were talking about Superman for a second.
No, Mary Jane. Mary Jane dies from radiation poisoning after sleeping with Peter for so long. She dies from the radiation.
Oh, that would have been a good script. I remember
that was Dark Reign. That was Dark Reign. That happened in the comic Dark Reign.
Of course, we didn't even talk about
J.K. Simmons.
Criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante. A public menace. What's he doing on my front page?
Mr. Jameson, your wife is on line 1. She needs to know if you...
Mr. Jameson, there's a page 6 problem.
We have a page 1 problem. Shut up.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. Which, do you know who wanted to be J. Jonah Jameson in the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire one?
Who?
Stanley.
Oh, I could see that.
He kind of like...
Yeah.
He lobbied for it for a little bit, but no, of course it didn't happen.
Stan Lee can't act though.
I mean, I could see him physically. I'm not saying acting wise, no.
Yeah,
but,
he lobbied for it, but But like I said, man, the direction of that movie was just so fucking spot on. Even though it kind of dragged a little bit because of Tobey Maguire's acting, I don't know. That's more of a personal thing for me, but I think Uncle Ben, his relationship with him, and I get not teary-eyed, but I get all misty every time I see Uncle Ben die. And like I said, that actor who actually they used his voice in Into the Spider-Verse with great power. Yeah, they used his voice in that movie too. So that was kind of awesome how they did that.
That particular segment of relationship between them two matters, man, because I mean it's in every iteration.
So, movies now. Ben Affleck said it. Movies are now going to be big box offices are now strictly going to be superhero movies.
Yes, I sent you that on Instagram.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Yep.
And that's where, like, I read it because of The Last Duel did so terribly.
Yeah.
And a lot of other movies that have come out in theaters.
Green Knight.
Yep. Have not done well. Other than Marvel superhero movies.
Yes.
But do you think it's because they're superhero movies, or do you think that these characters are so fleshed out that it's so easy or easier to make these movies, and then you go to newer movies, dramas and whatnot that have nothing to do with the Marvel universe? I personally think filmmakers, and I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not a writer, I think they're getting lazy.
Yes.
And with these Marvel, like the way that Kevin Feige has Marvel Studios going right now, it's a machine and know exactly what they're doing. Whereas Warner Brothers, everyone's trying to keep up with them now.
Yeah. Disney is the #1 producer of entertainment right now.
Yeah.
Because they have Star Wars, they have Marvel, they have their Disney Princess line. I mean, they just got
I don't know about Star Wars, man.
Oh, yeah, I know. We can talk about that offline because this is going to be a totally different
Let me
topic.
just say, Boba Fett chase scene, worst chase scene.
Yes, it was. I read that, and I agree with you. This third episode was not good, but I like the story so far.
I love Boba Fett, and I'm just hoping that it turns around
up.
where he just fucking like decimates people.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I agree with you. It's more like he's coming across as this fatherly figure. Like I get this feeling with him, like he's seen it all, done it all. He's kind of like, nah, I'm just trying to make my money, But it's not the Boba Fett that you saw before, who was, hey, I'm going to get this coin.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay me one way or another. It's like Dad Boba Fett right now. Like, I'm just trying to get my ends, And Finnick is trying to, we can talk about that later. Anyway.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was to circle back, like you had Spider-Man in 2002, 2004 was the second one, in 2007, Tobey Maguire. You're seeing how much money these movies can make, and as it progresses, and then Marvel gets their character rights back and everything, and they do know what they're doing with their characters.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the route we're taking? Because even movies in the summer, blockbusters, you had Michael Bay movies. No one gives a fuck about Transformers anymore. No one gives a shit. Like, it's Marvel. It's Marvel. And not even DC. No one looking at it.
Peacemaker is great, by the way.
Huh?
I said Peacemaker is great, by the way. Oh my God!
I need to see that. Well, the thing is,
I need to watch it, but I'm not interested.
Their streaming stuff is doing really well. Like, I love Doom Patrol, but Zack Snyder's Justice League, I liked it. Was it a great film? Was it on par with a Marvel film? No. 100% no. If you say it is, you're blinded by your love for Zack
It's probably the closest, at least.
Closest to, probably, I would say, what would be like a second tier Marvel movie in the Marvel universe?
Thor 2, Dark World.
Maybe that. Like, it was okay. But
it was better than Captain Marvel. It was better than that. And Captain Marvel had all the things.
Man, we're all feminists here, so
hey, look, man.
Was Captain Marvel not good because it was taking place in a different time period?
And the time period was right up our alleys, the fucking 90s. But it felt like it was really.
That's what I'm asking. Is that why? Because they weren't able to replicate the 90s that well?
I thought they did a good job.
I don't think you can. It's very hard to replicate that era because we're still kind of stagnant.
Yeah.
Like, as a society, we haven't changed. Fucking Jinko jeans. Still seeing people wear those.
It's true. It's true.
Converse also, like, it's the new generation is so obsessed with, like, what we grew up with. But I don't know. Like, I
just thought her acting was stiff. But I understand she's a captain. She was in the military. So I understand why.
I agree with you. Like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, I didn't think it was terrible. Like she got better in Avengers Endgame, but no, I agree with you.
Right, but she was only in there for like 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes were so good. She acted a little differently. The times after that movie, I thought she was better. A lot fucking better.
So next week we'll be doing The Amazing Spider-Man.
That ought to be easy.
Did we talk about the Spider-Man 2 one? I know we talked about 3 with Sandman and all that bullshit.
Well, I actually think so. Opinion-wise, I thought 2 was amazing. All around, it was a better movie than the first one. I do love Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, and he's back in the second one. But Alfred Molina as Doc Ock and the whole storyline and everything, I thought it was just so fucking.
It was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
so you had the father figure with the Green Goblin and William Dafoe's character, and then the second one you have his mentor, basically somebody he modeled himself.
Yes.
Since Ben
Obsession.
Yeah, since his uncle Ben died, this was like supposed to be the guy that was gonna like lead him into becoming a man, and then he becomes, of course, Dr.
And
Ock.
you know what, man? Practical puppetry. All those tentacles were practical puppets.
Oh, no shit.
And I thought that was great. They didn't really use too many CGI for that. It was practical puppetry for the tentacles.
But the best part of the Spider-Man movies, they were kind of they set the tone for all the superhero movies afterwards. And the best thing about it, these actors took it serious. Like they could have just kind of made it campy and basically whatever. This is just another movie to get paid on, and it's just a kid's movie. But they didn't do that. And I give William Dafoe, which, by the way, in the first movie, it was reported that he was the one in the suit. He didn't want a stuntman in it because he didn't think the stuntman would do a good job of giving the right body language. I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Like, this guy is great. But reportedly the suit was very uncomfortable, but he still wanted to do it anyway. Like, that's the shit I want to hear when you do these type of movies. But anyway, I know this is the end. So best movie out of all of this, I personally say probably the first one because of the tones I like from the Batman movie.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
But so you didn't like, I thought you were going to pick the second one.
I think, so I did love the second one, and most people agree that the second one is better than the first, but I love Willem Dafoe.
Me too.
As Green
Yeah.
Goblin.
Yeah.
That's fair. So I would go 1, 2, omit 3.
Hey guys, it's Aaron. You think you could do me a big fave? Wherever you're listening to this right now, rate and subscribe. Find new episodes where you listen to podcasts, and look for us on all the social media sites and Gmail at After School Special Podcast at Gmail, After School Special Podcast at Instagram and Facebook, and After School SPE3 on Twitter.
Kirsten Dunst is fine. I remember her from Interview with a Vampire. I loved her in that. But as she got older, I was like, oh, she's cute. But I didn't find her attractive. I thought she should have been more attractive.
You thought she was attractive as a little girl vampire?
Well, I was a little boy at the time.
Oh, okay.